And the thing with SEO, you don't have to get a lot of traffic because if you target it properly, you'll have an extremely high conversion rate. So as you can even see here, like the clicks aren't high, but my leads are high, which is good. And try to push that up. We can be like, okay, do we need to write additional content, or do we need to optimize the keywords better? Or do we need to build more links to that page? It just gives you a really good roadmap that you can look at all your different pages and see, like, you can look here, the average position for my homepage is 30 for all the keywords. And that's a page that brings most of the clicks. But like this page brings the second amount. Let's focus on that a little bit.
Helping hardworking real estate investors, agents, and entrepreneurs grow a better business, mindset, and future. This is the Carrot Cast podcast. Now here's your host, Trevor Mock.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the series on SEO and how to rank your website well as a real estate investor, as a real estate agent to get motivated leads. We call them evergreen leads. We call it evergreen marketing, where you do marketing once, and then it feeds you for a long time, for years, not just weeks like direct mail or cold calling or things like that. And so in the first episode, Adrian and myself dove into the high level of what SEO is, why it's important now in today's world, some of the keys you need to look at high level strategy wise. And now we're going to start to dig into the meat and in the tactics. So Adrian's going to be coming on later in the series as well, but we've got some exciting people coming on this call. The one I'm going to introduce you to right now is Bryan Driscoll. And before I bring him in, and we're going to dive into 5 key SEO things you need to look at in this time right now to win in SEO over the coming years. Why do I have Bryan on here? So first of all, Bryan and I connected through one of his own ads. I saw it. I'm like, who is this guy? He's marketing really, really well. And then I went to look at his Carrot site, and he had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of motivated house sellers that were coming in a pretty darn competitive market in Pittsburgh. And we just had a chance to look at another one of his sites, over 1,000 motivated seller leads. That one's through paid ads. But what we're going to be focusing in on is the organic leads he's getting. So I'm not going to share the screen in this right now, but I'm in the back end of his Carrot site with that business. It's 412 houses up in Pittsburgh. And just looking through the back end of this, y'all, 14 hours ago, actually, that was a few days ago right here. So 3 hours ago, Google paid ad lead came in. 2 days ago, Google search lead. 2 days ago, Google search lead. 2 days ago, Google search lead. So you got 3 organic leads in that day. And you keep on going down. There's a mix between paid and search, but there's a lot of search leads coming in here. 11 days ago, Google search lead. It's a person's owned the house for 34 years in Pittsburgh. That's probably got some equity in it, right? 11 days ago, that same day, Google search lead. House is in great condition. They're looking to sell it there in Pittsburgh. A day later, Google search lead. Guys, there's so many amazing leads coming through here. Oftentimes they're the most motivated. So Bryan knows what he's doing. He also owns an SEO agency there in Pittsburgh that does amazing work. And we're going to be diving into what we can do to help you guys crush an SEO in this market heading forward. So Bryan, I want to turn it over to you, a little 60-second intro. Who are you, man? What do you do in the real estate side and the marketing side? And then we're going to dive into the 5 tips that they can take away in this session.
All right, cool. So about me, I'm a real estate investor, and I've also been doing digital marketing for like 15 years. So I understand the difference with most digital marketing people. So a lot of people don't understand what a motivated seller is versus a home seller. So I understand all that kind of stuff. And I've just been doing it for a long time. I did it for my business, and then we just started offering it for like other people too. So I have a lot of knowledge in this space. And I'm just glad to be here and help out, and pass along some tips to help some people out in other areas.
I like it, dude. So we're going to be sharing our screen a little bit in this session, and throughout the entire SEO series, you're going to want to go to YouTube to get the full picture. And I mean, literally the picture of everything. So if you're listening to this in the podcast, amazing. We're going to be verbalizing as much as we possibly can. But if you want the full picture and to see the screens we're showing, to see the things that Bryan is updating on his sites and what he's doing with Google Search Console, go over to YouTube, find us over there, Carrot, look this episode up, look the SEO series up, follow along and subscribe so you get more content like this to help you grow as an investor or an agent. So I've got 5 things here. I'm going to review the 5 things first, and we're going to dive into them one at a time, about 5 minutes per thing. And the first one that we're going to dive into is reviews, testimonials, credibility. We're going to dive into that one pretty heavily and how that impacts your SEO right now, especially right now in this market. The next one that a lot of people don't do is using Google Search Console. So we're going to be, Bryan's going to be showing us how he uses it and the information it gives him for free. Number 3, we're going to talk about on-page SEO. So once you've got the reviews and testimonials, you're gathering them and you got the Search Console up, how do you actually modify the content on your Carrot site in order to give you an even greater chance to rank well? Number 4 is a tip that Bryan's got around keywords on a page. How many keywords should you go after on a page? What's too many? What's just right? And then tip number 5 is how do you get the right lead source tracking so you know exactly where every lead came in, you know exactly what sources things are coming from. There's some tools inside of Carrot, and Bryan's going to show you another one that's free to help you dive even deeper on that data. So we're going to start with number 1, Bryan. So reviews and testimonials. I want to toss this to you first, then I'm going to pull up my screen and show a great example or two. But what should people do around reviews and testimonials to help their site rank better?
Yeah, it's important for a couple of different things. Number 1, it keeps people on your website longer. It builds your credibility, and it's just when someone comes to the website, there's so many different people competing. You want to build that credibility. It's like, okay, this is a real person. They're really trying to help me. They can help me, and they've done it for other people. Yep. So testimonials, or I do it a couple different ways. Like number 1, we're going to put it on the website. And then number 2, the Google My Business, like the local business pack. See if you can get people that you've done deals with, send them the link. You can grab the link from like your Google Maps and email it directly to people and say, hey, can you leave me a review? Dude, just because a lot of people, that's the first place they look, is they just Google you.
And dude, so on that side of things, I'm gonna share my screen now. On that side of things with the Google reviews, is there any correlation? Is Google using those at all, those review profiles, to help prop up someone's ranking?
Yeah. So in the map section, definitely that comes into consideration. And then also Google's looking at credibility overall. So they don't really tell you exactly what they're looking at. But like, say, for example, if you have Google My Business, you have a whole bunch of credibility there. Plus then you also have it on your website too. They take all that into consideration, plus people on time, what your bounce rate is, everything like that.
Yep. Cool. So guys, on the screen, I'm showing this. This is Adrian, who's a part of this series. And you don't even have to have a million of them, right? But you can see right here, he's got his Carrot site that's ranking number 1 and number 2. When you type in his company name, we always talk about it. Offline marketing drives online demand. And right there, he's got some Google reviews. He's got some good pictures of some things. All of his information, his website's listed on there. He replies to the reviews. And that's a really good tip there. A lot of people that are more advanced, or if you're in a really competitive market, we'll see 20, 30, 40 Google reviews on there. The more, the merrier. But this is a great example.
Yeah, look at on your screen there too. Even look at the Facebook down there. See how the reviews put the stars?
Yep.
Sometimes you'll get a click being the third person if you have stars underneath your website, because it draws your eyes and builds that credibility even before people get it on your website. I
love it, dude. And so one other thing about credibility, Google started making this update a couple of years ago where they're looking at the overall trust and authority of a website. And so one of the things that they look at with trust and authority is it a credible business? Is it a real business? Is it business that people like? There was something that they called the Medic update last year, I think it was, that hammered a lot of health-related and medical-related websites. And a lot of it was because of trust signals. And so in the real estate investor and agent side of things, we're going to see this come more and more where we need to show those trust signals. Google reviews, Facebook reviews, and adding those reviews to your website is important. I'm going to show a couple sites, so we're going to move to tip number 2. So this right here is Christina Kudlak, and she's been a Carrot customer for quite some time. She got a number 1 ranking in Los Angeles, and now she moved to Phoenix, and she's climbing the rankings really fast over there because she's already built out that credible website that Google loves. And you can see when you land here, she's got the Better Business Bureau thing up there. She's got the links to her credibility profiles on Google and Yelp and Facebook. So she's driving those reviews. This is one of the reasons she's popping that ranking up fast. You know, showing faces that herself and her husband. She's just baking so much credibility in here. Has good testimonials with clients. So like Bryan had said, it keeps people on the page longer. So if they have more content to engage in and more things to click around on, it keeps people on the page longer, and it also just helps to build that overall credibility profile. She's cramming a lot of credibility on here, screenshots of credibility. Guys, if someone lands on a site like this versus even just a standard carrot site out of the box, standard carrot sites out of the box can give you a big advantage. But when you make the updates of credibility, it's going to keep them on the page longer, help them convert better, and raise all those trust signals big time.
100%. Yeah.
Cool. So I'm going to stop share here. I'm going to move to tip number 2. So setting up Google Search Console. I think most people don't do this, Bryan. So why don't you explain what Google Search Console is, why it's important, and we'll show your screen for a little bit on what they can kind of get out of Search Console when they use it.
Okay, cool. So Google Search Console is a free tool by Google. What you do is you register your website, like you sign up, it's free. And then what you need to do is they give you a little code that you'll go in the Carrot site, you'll click settings and then script, you just pop it in. And then that verifies it. And what that's doing is it's going to show you which phrases you're ranking for, how many impressions you're getting, not clicks. Well, it'll also show clicks, but impressions are very important. So it'll show how many times you popped up in a search engine when someone searched a phrase. And then what I do with it is if I'm showing, hey, I popped up for a phrase and I ranked number 9 on a specific page, it'll show you the exact URL. And you can go to that URL and try to tweak it. Whether it's changing something on the site, you can just make changes and watch and see the results of your stuff there, and try to strategically push your rankings on a macro level or micro level, whatever you want to call it, up versus looking at your whole website as a whole.
Dude, one of the things that I love about Search Console too, and if you are able to pull it up, go ahead and share the screen there. And one of the things that's really cool about it is, especially if you're battling for a top spot, let's say you're in number 3 or something like that, or number 4. One of the things I love about it is you can dig in there, and oftentimes it'll show you click-through rates. It'll show you CTRs on ranking positions many times. And so if you can increase your click-through rate and you're in position 4 and your click-through rate gets higher than, let's say, number 3, oftentimes that's a signal that can raise you. And the way that you do that is you look at your title tag and your description on that particular page and try to make it more compelling for the click. And so there's so much data. I'm going to toss over to you, man, though. So how do you use Search Console?
Yeah, sure. So I use it for a couple different ways. Number one, you can see here, like it's showing the queries, like what people searched, how many clicks and what position, what was the average position for that?
Yep.
And the thing with SEO too, you don't have to get a lot of traffic, because if you target it properly, you'll have an extremely high conversion rate. Yep. So as you can even see here, like the clicks aren't high, but my leads are high, which is good. But say like this, Pittsburgh cash home buyer showing 6.5. We could look at this specific page. Like you can look at the pages here and say, well, even these are better. Like this one, 48.2. We could go after this specific phrase on that page if I was focused on that, which I'm not a ton, and try to push that up. We could be like, okay, do we need to write additional content, or do we need to optimize the keywords better? Or do we need to build more links to that page? Yep. It just gives you a really good roadmap that you can look at all your different pages and see, like, you can look here, the average position for my homepage is 30 for all the keywords. And that's a page that brings most of the clicks. Yep. But like this page brings the second amount. Let's focus on that a little bit. You know? Dude,
this is so good, because one thing that we'll talk with customers about on our weekly coaching calls is oftentimes they're ranked, let's say number 4 or 5, even 3 in a market, and they're just not getting the leads that they want. And one thing that you guys need to recognize is every spot you go up on the first page, it pretty much doubles your clicks, like roughly doubles your clicks. So the number 1 result on a page is going to get somewhere around the 30% of the clicks range. That's a rough range. Number 2 result's going to get, somewhere around the 15 to 20% of the clicks range. The number 3 result, you guys see the idea, right? It's about 7 to 10% of the clicks on down. And so if you're only able to move up 1 spot, you kind of double your amount of clicks that on average that will come to your website from that. So it's very worth it to move from 5 to 4 and 4 to 3 and 3 to 2. And yeah, number 1 is the kind of the holy grail for the phrases you're wanting to go to. But you can still get really good clicks and leads with ones that are not number 1. And that last page Bryan showed, a lot of those phrases where he's getting a lot of clicks were not number 1. They were 2.5. They were on average 1.5, 2.2, 2.5, 2.1. 2.6 has got 83 clicks through that. So he's still able to get a volume through that in his market of Pittsburgh. Once he gets it up higher to an average of 1 to 2 and then an average of 1, then he's going to double those clicks. So it's really powerful moving up. Anything else inside of here, man, that you use on a routine basis?
No, you know what? That's a good point you brought up though with the ranking. moving from 3.2 to 1. Like, for example, we can take a brand new website you're not ranking at all and bring you to page 1 in like 2 months.
Yep.
Getting from that third position to the second position, that may take you 3 to 6 months.
Yep.
If you can get it, depends on the competition. And then going from 2 to 1, it's extremely slow too.
Mm-hmm.
So ranking to get onto page 1 is not too bad, but getting those top spots, it's a constant struggle.
And that's why right here, like it says average position, 1.5 is because when you're battling for those spots, things move. And so they'll move back and forth. You might be ranked number 1 for a week and you're all pumped up that you got it. And you bounce back down to number 2 for the next month. And then kind of my rule of thumb is it looks like a stock market ticker. Ideally, it's going to be going up and down as you're battling for that and working on these factors we're telling you, but it should be in an upward trend. If it's just battling and always chaotic, you're probably not building the right backlinks, which we're going to talk about in a future episode here. You might not have the right on page, which we're going to move to that next, or something like that. So guys, go get Search Console set up. There will be a link on how to do that and put it in your Carrot site. So let's bounce to number 3, man. So on-page SEO, what should Carrot clients be looking for with their on-page? Once they launch a Carrot site, what should they do to give them the best chance?
Okay, so here's what I recommend to get a best chance on the SEO side. So Carrot sites are great out of the box for all paid marketing. For SEO, they're structured awesome too. I go through and I rewrite the content. So the nice thing is with the Carrot website, like I don't have to think about what I need to write, but I need to make the content unique. For example, if you have 2 different websites with the same words in the same order on a site, think about it from the search engine side. How can the search engine determine who's more relevant?
Yep.
Because the search engine's whole purpose is to give the answer to whoever's typing in the question, So we want to make our website most relevant. So what I do is I'll go through and rewrite the content, titles, meta description, headers, and then the body content. And mainly, you don't have to think about it. You're just taking the existing content. Like the copy is good, just making it in your own words, and then tossing in your own stuff too, like making it local. Like I'm in Pittsburgh, you can reference things in Pittsburgh or whatever, make it fit your personality and your brand.
Dude. So with the on page, do you? And I know you and I didn't talk about this before, but people might wonder, hey, do I still need to keep the length of the content? Can I make it longer? Can I make it shorter? Is there kind of an ideal that you aim for a page you're trying to rank as far as word count?
Yeah. So for a page I'm trying to rank, I mean, we might be like 600-800 words. I don't even look at it in a sense. I'd say to answer your question, like 600-800 words on the home page. Internal pages like city pages might be 400 or 500. Depends on the competition. But I'm more even looking what's going to be beneficial to that user. Someone lands on the site because there's different things that people do for content. A lot of people write content just to rank and try to trick the search engine. What you want to do, search engine algorithms are smart. So kind of play by their rules now. Write awesome content that gives someone lands on your website. You need to talk about what you're going to do for them if they want to sell your house, build their trust, and make sure you have the keywords in it. Like if you're targeting specific phrases, work them in. It's easy to put keywords on a page because that's what you're talking about. Like we're not trying to squeeze in talking about eggs,
Exactly. And dude, one thing that's really key that you mentioned there too, and I know Adrian is a huge proponent of this as well, is like you said, you're not writing for the search engines first, you're writing for the user first. Because if you just write for the search engines, and when the user lands there, it might not resonate, it might not convert well. So you got them there, but they didn't convert. And so write for the user, write for addressing the fears in their mind, the frustrations in their mind, follow our copy that we have in there. But then, like you said, make sure you're doing it with the search engine in mind. You're not ignoring that part of it. And just like Bryan said, go through our paragraphs, guys and gals, take our paragraph, look at it and go, cool, let me just rewrite that whole paragraph in my own words. If you wanted to add on more content, you totally can, which is awesome. Perfect, dude. So anything else on the on-page SEO side before we bounce to number 4, which is also an on-page tip, but anything else on this part of it?
Nah, we're good. Yeah, mainly on the content, just keep quality, like keep the user in mind.
Yep. I like it. So number 4 is also an on-page tip, but how many keywords should someone go after per page? And this is a question we get in quite a bit. They say, hey, can I go after these keywords on this one page? Do I have to make multiple ones? What should they do? Okay.
So normally when I'm optimizing a website, I have a target keyword and maybe 2 or 3 secondary keywords, but they're all around the same theme.
Okay.
For example, we'll break it down. Like say you have a shoe store. I would target the homepage for shoes. First click in would be men's shoes. Third would be men's black shoes. Each page is targeting a specific thing. And the reason you want to do that when someone's searching for a specific phrase, you want them to land on the page that answers that question. You don't want them to land on a page talking about all this different stuff because they may just bounce off. So if it's like we buy houses, we want them to land on a page that says, hey, we buy houses in Pittsburgh. Here's how we do it. But then if they type in sell my house fast, like into Google, and we have that page rank, we want to talk about how they can sell their house fast because that's what they're searching. So we want to optimize the page for the keyword we're trying to rank for and have the page specifically about that. If you want to target multiple keywords, make multiple pages.
Dude, and one thing that's going to pop up in people's minds is, well, shoot, I'm in multiple cities, so they each need to have a new page. Good thing for you guys, we have a whole nother video in this series on that, how to invest in multiple markets. But as far as the one keyword per page, we'll give you kind of a little sneak peek on that. Is we'll get this question a lot. So my homepage, I'm in 5 markets. What should I do for my homepage? We'll answer that in the future video, but still follow that advice Bryan's giving. Pick one keyword that you're trying to go after with that homepage. And then if you're trying to rank for the other markets, then you'll launch separate pages on them where they're going after one keyword. And we'll dive into that in more detail on that one. So we've got one more tip on here, man. And so let's say someone's gone through and they've gathered good testimonials and they're driving that credibility profile and Google reviews and on Facebook, and they're getting the testimonials updated on their page. They're increasing the time someone's staying on their page because they have good content and they're clicking around and seeing the credibility. They've got Search Console hooked up so they can get more insights at a deeper level on what keywords specifically are attracting them. Now we need to know, these leads are coming in, where are they coming from? So what are some things people can do once they start to get that traffic to have better insights on where everything's coming from?
Yeah, sure. So the first thing, like right in the back end, the CRM and Carrot is pretty accurate. It's going to tell you Google search, Google pay-per-click, Facebook. What I also do is I will set up in Google Analytics, and it's really easy to set up. It's the same thing. You go in and you just put script in the website and then you're linked. It's free. It shows where all the traffic, even more in detail, is coming from and what's going on a website. So you can set up a goal for when someone clicks and goes to the page, step 2. Then you can set up a separate goal when someone goes and clicks a thank you page or a different page, whatever you want to track, you can do that. And then you can look at the source. Say you donated to the Cub Scouts or something, like one of the local organizations, they put a link on your page. You can tell, hey, I had 4 people click here and I got 2 leads.
Yep.
Or, hey, I got 100 clicks from somewhere and I got 0 leads. Yep. And it helps you direct. You can look at the traffic, what the traffic's doing compared to how many leads you get, and then do more of what's working.
Dude, that's such a good tip, man. Because with everything with marketing, there's a first step. Hey, do these things, and as you get more advanced, there's other tools, other things you can do. And like Bryan said, the first step is as leads come in, just look at the darn lead source inside the Carrot system. But what our system does not do right now is track all the way back to each individual referral site and show you what leads came from that specific site, which Google Analytics can do for free for you. You guys might be curious, where does our data come from? Our data comes from GA as well, from Google Analytics as well, that shows up on your guys' site. But if you want the full advanced unlock, use GA, do what Bryan had said, get the code, get the script, put it on your Carrot site, and now you'll have the Carrot data and your Google Analytics data side by side, and you can really scale it up from there. So Bryan, dude, this is amazing. So the 5 tips, going to run through them again, guys and gals. Get reviews and testimonials, focus on them heavily. When we saw a recent update that came out this last December, and we looked at sites that won and sites that didn't win, there were some common factors. Now, it wasn't across the board exactly, but there were common factors. One of the big factors was the ones that win had a good credibility profile and they were keeping it updated. Some of the ones that lost rankings didn't focus on that at all. Another factor that we're going to talk about in a future video is the ones that won and retained their rankings or grew their rankings were updating their website consistently with content. It was active. A lot of the ones that lost rankings did not have activity on their site for 6, 10, 12, 18 months. And so we're going to show you some of those tips in the future videos. But Bryan, thanks for this one. Now we're going to hop on the next one. And guys, check out the full series at carrot.com/Bible. You can access the full series, our SEO Bible with all the keywords and everything inside of there. All right, we'll see you in the next video.